Japan live stream. Have we heard? I haven't seen anything on today. Anything on injuries like Obo and Fuller? Anybody?
I haven't heard anything on Obo or Fuller. I haven't heard anything about any injuries.
Fuller was same shoulder, and Obo was elbow strain. I think is what they said.
Strain.
Yeah.
You need those guys back. We don't need to have people hurt, and then the 49ers get healthy. That's no bueno.
Yeah.
Doesn't sound like Sherm's coming back this week. Still.
Oh, I talked to Nick Wagner about that, and he thought he might have a chance of coming back this week. So that's good.
They just said that he regressed, and McVay said today that Micah will play this week.
Wow.
Really?
Good.
That's it.
Yeah.
Poor Troy Reader. He's one Samson Ebicon game, and he's done.
He said McVay is optimistic about his availability for Sunday night's game against 49ers.
All right. We'll take it. Was that JB?
Stu Jackson.
Oh, okay. Stewie. All right. So we are live on YouTube. I don't know who's going to pop on and check us out. I just retweeted, but if I see questions in there, I'll relay them. But if not, welcome to another YouTube Live BTH special. Myself, Robbo. We got Nick, the Seattle contingent, but we're bringing in our special LA secret sauce, the man of the plan, the keeper of the seats, who totally hooked my ass up during the playoffs, even though we got our a disappointing loss against the Falcons. He totally took care of us. The one and only Mr. Stephen Spade.
Hi guys, thanks for having me. I'm super pumped to be here.
Also, Nick, you had season tickets with Stephen, right, for a year?
Yes, our tickets when they went on pre-sale, Stephen and I kind of coordinated. He was, I think you were the wave before me, and we had talked a little bit about where we wanted to sit roughly and how much money we wanted to spend when we were looking at tickets to the Coliseum, and we're like, hey, all right, great, let's try to get our seats close together. So I think you were the wave before me, and then I was the next day. Wasn't that right, Stephen?
Yeah, I think so. It was really close. I remember, if vice versa, or you were first, I was first. I don't remember, but yeah, it was really close.
Right. And then so Stephen got his, and then there ended up being seats at the same spot. We were like row 20, about the 20-yard line on the visitor side.
I think it was section 21, row 21, and then I had like seat 21 or something like that. So that's really good seats. Really good seats.
Yeah, they were fantastic. We kept them for a year, and then I don't know. It was for us. It was obviously a little bit bigger of a commitment because I have to fly down there, and my dad coming down from Montana. But it was fun having seats there.
It was a lot of fun.
As someone who sat in them and then got his entire body rocked on one of the biggest plays of the game by Mr. yeah, they were great seats, right above you were behind the bench, but you're up high enough where you could look over the bench, and it wasn't a problem. 10 rows down or so, then you're starting to have you're cutting off the near field and things like that. But no, they were sweet. They were sweet seats. Fun day. It was great after even with the loss. Looking back on it, it was just a great day. Just kind of getting that monkey off the back and just celebrating hitting the playoffs, and then that springboarded them into the Super Bowl the following year. But that was good stuff. But that's the past. We're in the present now, and our boys are 4-1 after coming off a big 30-10 win in Washington, where really the defense stole the show. Right? I mean, the offense was pretty good, but that's a nasty crew. That is just a nasty crew. Steven, since you're with us first, what are your thoughts on what you saw this weekend with the Rams and Washington football team?
Well, the defense balled out. You expect them to, because Washington offensively, they don't really have the horses. There's not really anybody on that side of the football outside maybe McLaurin that you're really scared of. Scherf was out for this game, so coming in, you expected the defense to pretty much do what they did. I mean, maybe not 3 Troy Reader sacks but it's exactly what I expected from the defense. Anyways,
you didn't expect 3 sacks from Troy Reader this week?
No, maybe 2, but no, not 3. Definitely not 3.
If you had 3 on your bingo card, get at us. Your prize is in the mail. We'll get it out to you. But be honest now, because we'll go back and check. Nick, thoughts on what you saw this weekend from the boys?
I think we touched on it last week of where it was important to win in this game, and it was obviously get a win, come out healthy, and then to continually dominate up front on both sides of the ball. And I think we saw all of those things. The injury front, it was minor compared to what could have happened at FedEx. That place is a landmine for knees. But looking to offensive line, they play pretty good. That front's good. I think we touched on it last week. Their 4th DVOA on defense. That was purely because of that front 7. And then on defense, I think they made probably the worst decision ever of letting Aaron run one-on-one against that poor kid. Did you see his PFF grade came out today? It was 5.
Yeah.
I don't know how. Yeah. I don't know how any offensive coordinator or head coach can make the decision, say, yep, we're going to let anybody go one-on-one with him. At least not the whole game. So it's great to see, get home 8 times. They rotate a lot on the edge, which was, it was good to see. Lewis I think he got 14 snaps. Jachi came in again, got another pressure again. If Aaron wasn't Aaron, he would have got another sack. So yeah, where I wanted to see this team play really well, they did. And on offense, we saw a deep shot. It's coming. Those things are going to start to open up the more they run the football. What they run 35 times, run the ball 35 times every single week, and you'll get shots over the top.
Yeah.
I want to give props to the offensive line. So as we talked, Nick and I talked last week, like just talking and what we're going to look for. Washington had the number 4 ranked DVOA defense heading this week, which is by far the best defense we've faced on paper so far this year. I think the Giants might have been close, or not close, but the next, like 20th. After what they did to the Rams, they bumped up to 12th. So it shows how good they were. But Washington's defense has been shutting down a lot of people. Now they're shutting down bad teams. They got after people. I mean, that defensive line, you saw it, they're active and they are nasty. One QB hit, which was a sack against Jared Goff, against that defensive front line. Pretty impressive by the boys up front, but the 5 guys up front, they also rushed for like 129 yards rushing or so. A lot of that, 46 of it was Cam Akers' big run. So if you take that one run away, they're looking around 85 yards or so. But still, they controlled what they had to control, which was the strength of that team. You guys have both mentioned they're not a good team. They're they started Kyle Allen after they benched Haskins, and then the big thing was I had threw a tweet out there in the middle of the game. I was like, all right, what quarter are we going to see Alex Smith? Because the writing was on the wall. He was going to play at some point. And they touched on the broadcast. That division is so putrid. You just go for it. You can see a 5 or 6 win team win that division. So, and they have to play the rest of that division later. So get him in there. Let's get going. After Kyle Allen got rocked by Jalen, I think it was a
talk about
call.
That hit.
Yeah. Let's go now. Go ahead, boys. What do you think about that Jalen hit?
Go ahead, Steven. I have something to chirp about it, but go ahead.
I mean, obviously, I hated it. I mean, it's a bang physical play. I think maybe if Jalen tries to wrap him up, maybe the flag doesn't get thrown. I mean, because it visually just looked like an illegal hit. I think so.
He gave him the TJ McDonald special, right?
Huh?
They give him a TJ McDonald special.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. So the hit just looked vicious. I mean, yeah. I mean, I hate to see that. I mean, it wasn't as bad as the Aaron Donald roughing the passer call, where he's just trying to get out of the way, but we kind of got it back. Yeah.
He'd have to turn into Neo to avoid that thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah. So they're doing the letter of the law sort of thing yesterday with the flags. But what did you think of the hit, Nick?
All right. So I don't know if any of you guys listen to The Green Light. It's Chris Long's podcast. If not, it's honestly one of the most enjoyable podcasts that I listen to on a frequent basis. But he touched on how much of a double standard it is for that specific instance, and he called out that specific play. And it's because Kyle Allen turned himself into a runner. Now, if it's a running back, right? Trent Richardson, go back, I don't know, 6 years when Trent was smashing in between A gaps, and he would lower his head and he'd become a hammer. And he got flagged for it. I mean, it was the Trent Richardson rule on offense. And it's probably why the reason he's not in the league anymore. But when Kyle Allen turned himself into a runner, if you're going to lower your head, be expected to get exactly that. I absolutely hate the rule, and as someone who probably leans favoritism on the defensive side of the ball, I think it's BS. Wide receivers do it all the time, right? Brandon Cooks catches a slant. What's he do? Tucks his head down.
It was basically It was basically just that it was a quarterback getting hit and the hit looked vicious. That's the only reason they threw the flag. If it was a running back, that would have been that would have been a flag.
I'll say this: if Jalen gets fined, I sure as hell hope that Mr. Stan says I got this one, because that was not it wasn't very fair. Not like Jalen needs the money, but it's purely out of principle.
If it's a dirty hit, I mean, that's one thing. It was clean. He didn't even really go head first. He went shoulder, head, incidental contact. I get you want to take the head out of the game, but I don't know what you want a position player to do. We talked about this in the pod. I'm not sure if Joe hasn't edited it up yet, but we recorded it right after the game yesterday, so I was kind of hot about it. But if you're a QB and you're out of the pocket, you have a protection built in. It's called slide. If you go feet first, they can't touch you. He was going for the first down on the boundary. He put his shoulder down. If you watch it back, he lowers his head. He invites that contact. I don't know what you want a defensive player to do in that position. I don't care if it's Jalen Ramsey or if it's Richard Sherman, whoever. It does. At that point, the onus is on the quarterback to protect himself. If he's not going to protect himself, light his ass up. That's part of the game. I totally hate to see players get hurt. What happened to Dak was horrific. That kind of stuff. I don't want to see it, but if it's still football, and that is as clean a hit as you're going to see. It's a violent sport.
Did he officially go out with a shoulder injury too? Is that what they actually called it? Is a shoulder injury?
Yeah, shoulder injury.
Jammed his
I think they called
head into his shoulder.
Yeah, right, exactly. I think Ron Rivera saw it as a chance to let's just move on to the Alex Smith thing right now. And then, fittingly, 2 or 3 plays later, what happens? AD jumps on his back and rides him like a pony, right? Puts all 260 something pounds on that reconstructed leg. Good for Alex for making it through. He took a couple shots in that game, so you got to tip your hat to someone like Alex Smith after what he went through to get back on the field. That's awesome. I'm just glad they wiped them up. Just took them out of it. The conditions were against them. The hungry front was against them. The scoreboard was against them. I feel bad for Alex having to come into a game like that, but props for him for getting through it and getting back on the field and get those jitters out. Let him get a full week of practice and get going. But we talked about Washington. We talked about the Jalen hit. We talked about the deep shot with Goff to Woods. We kind of put that in place. We finished the NFC East, worst division in football. We did what we had to do. Now the schedule starts, boys. Now we've got San Francisco. We've got Seattle. We have the meat of the schedule in front of us. Going on the road, San Francisco. Quick preview. Let's talk about what you guys want to talk about. Are we going to see Jimmy G, or are we going to go with Bobby? Is it Bobby?
CJ
Beathard, yeah. I'm thinking Bobby Beathard. Bobby Beathard was the Chargers GM. That's how old I am. CJ, what do you guys think? What do you guys want to talk about? What's the thoughts on San Francisco week, other than fuck the Niners because we hate them with everything? Where are we at with Niner week? Niner week, our first taste of the NFC West, week 6 now, right? So, Steven, what do you got? What are you thinking this week, Niner week?
Yeah, I look forward to these games every year because I absolutely hate the Niners, as every Ram should. That San Francisco LA rivalry lives with me in this one, and watching them win, 15 games in a row against us when I was younger, still lives inside me. But I just want to see a commitment to the run game. I mean, I always want to see that, but I think with as banged up as their defense is, and we got Cam Akers back healthy, I really want to see them get all 3 of those guys going, really. Maybe a little more Cam Akers just to see what he's got. He looked good against Washington. On the defensive side of the ball, I mean, look, this is a banged up Niners team, but their offense is getting healthy. They got Debo played last week. Jimmy G played for a little bit, I believe, and maybe back this week. Mostert was back. So this is going to be a good test for the defense to some extent. But just get out of there with that W. That's all I care about. I don't care if it's 2-0. I just want to beat the Niners.
Just win, baby. Just get that W.
Yeah.
Nick, their best weapon on offense is a guy named George Kittle.
Mm-hmm.
Our weakness is in the middle of the field at linebacker. Do you see them doing something like they did a couple weeks ago, where they bring Jalen inside and put him on George Kittle and keep Darius and Hill on that side?
Yeah, I 100% expect that. It's either that or we are going to run a 3 safety set all day long, right? Like the Niners, for the most part, I think when they're at their peak, Offensively, they mimic a lot of exactly what Sean McVay wants to do, and that's not a shock because both those coaches came from the same lineage for the most part. The thing that still concerns me about the Niners is they can run the football, and if they can get that thing going, it's a snowball. It's hard to stop, and then that's when their defense gets to play with their ears pinned back. Now their defense is banged up, right? Like, you don't have Bosa. They're missing a lot of the pieces on the back end. I don't know if you guys watch that game at all, but Brian Allen, it looked real tough. It looked like Mr. King playing against the Colts. I don't know if you guys can go back that far, but that was some toast. Preston Williams just abused that kid. The interesting thing to me though is Niners last week got pumped up the middle by Gesicki. So if we're looking at, all right, here, what did Miami do in that game that we can replicate? I think you point to how much damage can we do in the middle of the field, and that's Gesicki, and that's going to be Cooper. So, I think the Rams, if they play their game, they win this game. They should stop the run, which has been. I mean, I don't know if you take last week as any indication. If they only I think allowed 108 yards, 38 on the ground. But Washington was never in the place to run the football. But I don't know. I think you stop Mostert, and I mean, we were talking about this in the chat. You have to assume that Beathard is going to be at QB because I don't know how you go back to Jimmy G. And that's got to be a tough decision, right? Like, he's obviously not healthy, but nonetheless, I don't know how you go back to him. But I think the Rams defense wins this football game for them. Offense is going to score points. What they're averaging 27 and a half. Like, they're going to score.
Yeah.
But Rams defense, they play like this is the different part about this Rams defense. Even when we had Keeb and Marcus, two guys that are quote unquote swaggy, I never really had swag. This team, it's got a little sauce to them on that side of the ball. So
Darius Williams is a man. That's a grown-ass man out there. He's not very big.
A superstar.
He plays. He's better than most of the starting corners in this league.
He is going to be a starter, and Absolutely. I don't know. I think you call him that at this point because they run three corners so much.
Right. But we're going back to the Jeff Fisher. You're my starting inside corner with who was that? You're my starting with LaMarcus Jr. Yeah. Now Jalen's the starting inside corner, but Darius Williams, he just has a nose for the ball and a knack for the big play. He's a timely motherfucker. That guy shows up in moments when you need him to show up. I love him. And so, I know Troy Hill has kind of had a resurgence and he's had a little slide again, but Troy Hill's always, he's like this COVID graph, right? He's up, he's down, he's back up.
COVID graph.
He reminds me of it. It's like, oh, we're through it. No, we're back. Now it's coming back up again. Right.
Are we in a V right now?
Which way are we going?
Or is it more like a K?
So he's a free agent as well. And so when you see Troy Hill walk this year and go sign a decent deal with the Eagles, Dolphins, whoever, Darius Williams is going to be starting across from Jalen Ramsey next year. There's no doubt. That guy, he just shows up. He has big moments. I love his stories. I just love his small school guy. Snubbed in the draft after having like a really good college career. He's just a guy who shows up and works hard, and so he's like my new favorite little guy over there, just because he shows up. Jordan Fuller again made his impact shown last week. Coming back from injury, he was all over the field early. Do you like that old school neck roll he had working?
Yeah.
Oh man, I think every Rams fan saw that, right? It was like, timeout. Is he wearing a neck roll right now? Like,
it was amazing.
Yep,
it was amazing. Yep. No throwback. He looked even more of a badass. Like, oh yeah, this guy's, here we go. Taylor Rapp had a little bit of a run. He showed up a little bit. And so, yeah, that as bad, I tweeted this on the game, as poor or as much of Les's staff has missed on middle linebackers and linebacker play in general over the last few years, he has nailed it. His staff has nailed defensive backs. Oh. They are money in finding guys who just perform. Which leads to you that, like, how do you pay any of them, right? Like, outside of Jalen, because Jalen's Jalen, but like, right. How do you pay it? How do you pay him? Like, you can't justify it when your track record says that, like, hey, John Johnson, like,
I love John. He's a captain of that team. I think he's the heartbeat of that team from a vocal standpoint, and he makes play after play after play. But you just can't justify paying him, especially when you've got so much salary cap dedicated to wide receiver, quarterback, and your two defensive stars. So
it was the three free agents in this next year. It was Jalen, it was Cooper, and it was John Johnson, and they were going to pay two of the three, and they paid two of the three. So John has to know he's playing for a contract. He had a good game as well. He had that PBU at the end of the game. He could have lit the guy up, drawn a flag. No, he smartly comes in, and just bats it down. Like you said, John Johnson is a guy who is going to get paid. He deserves to get paid. It's just probably not going to happen here because I don't know if you saw the over the cap tweet this week. They're like 22 million over next year right now, currently as I sit. John,
is that assuming there's no lift?
Yeah, that's just based on this year's number. The thought is,
gotcha.
And you guys aren't aware of this, the thought is that because of COVID economic impact, the cap is not going to go up this next year. There's even talk about it going down a little bit, but at least they're looking at a flat line. So they're not going to be able to drop it too much or do a whole lot with it because teams have kind of built their salary around a constantly rising cap, and they're going to have to figure something out if there's some kind of cap relief for teams because they're going to have so many teams are over the barrel on that. So there's going to be some tweak on that down the road. I guarantee it. What it is, we'll see. I wouldn't expect to see a big bump going up next year like we always see. Oh, we have 8 million now, but the cap's going to go up 10. Now we have 18. It's probably not going to happen next year. But every team's going to have to deal with that.
Speaking about that though, when Jared signed his contract, right? Like the hardest part is that it happened, and then we have a slide on the backside of it and say, all right, like when can we realistically get at Jared? I think it was 23 was the year that it was like 9 dead on it. Like given what you've seen from Jared thus far, like if you had the chance to kick the can down the road, let's say another 2 years on that to free up money, like do you do it?
Would I do it?
Yeah.
No, he's running Sean McVay's system perfectly. I don't care if he's a system QB. He's playing well.
Right, yeah, I know, but I'm saying. So he's due $34 million this year, $34.6 million. Knowing what you know right now with Jared Goff and this team, if you can free up money by tacking 2 more years onto his deal, do you kick the can down the road?
Oh yeah,
a la Drew Brees. Yeah.
You just keep rolling out. I thought you meant moving on. Yeah, you totally do that. If he's a system QB, he's a system QB. I don't care what moniker people want to throw on him. He's playing well. He executes the system. Now, he needs a running game to support him. We saw what happened last year. 2018, he's got a great running game. 2019, he doesn't. What happens? Teams tee off on you. Your offensive line, your running game's garbage. This year, he's back up to having that good supporting cast. Oddly, most QBs have that same issue, but Jared Goff gets dinged for it.
Steven, can you name a quarterback
that O-line?
Right.
Like, yeah.
Steven, can you name a quarterback in this league that thrives without a running game?
Yeah, I mean, maybe to an extent, Russell Wilson, but he opens up the running game. So,
right.
I mean, unless you're going to get one of those freak athlete guys, which there aren't very many of them to go around. I'll take a system quarterback all day if we have the right system. And with Sean McVay, I think we have the right system. So, yeah, I kick that can down the road a few times if it means.
I think Sean's earned the right to kind of pick his players. And so if he likes Jared Goff and enjoys what Jared Goff is doing and has a good rapport with him, people should kind of leave Jared alone. All the Key Fairleys or whatever can hate him as much as they want. He's winning games.
Jared turns 26, tomorrow, Wednesday? So
he's old.
He still has a lot of room.
Product.
He still has a lot of room to grow. The trajectory from his career since McVay's taken over till now, I mean, say what you want about last year, it was a down year, I mean, to his standards, but he's taken off like a rocket this year, in my opinion, and there's no reason to think that it won't continue for years to come. So,
boys, have we turned the corner? When 9-7 is a down year for the Rams, have we officially turned the corner here?
Hopefully.
Right?
I mean, I think you look at it in bursts, right? Like the NFL's super cyclical. Like,
of course,
outside of the Patriots, right? Like you go for a 7-year run is a good run, 10-year maybe, depending on if you've got the guy at quarterback. Like I think we're in the upside of hopefully a 10-year run. I think part of that's going to be like what they do on the defensive side around Aaron Donald. Like Aaron Donald isn't going to be around until he's 38, like Jared Goff potentially could be.
Yeah.
But I think Aaron Donald can be Julius Peppers, where he was dominant until he's 35, and I hope so. God, I hope so.
Is there a more fun guy to watch on defense than Aaron Donald? Just teeing off on dudes. It's
not in my life.
My favorite thing to do on Mondays is to look at Brian Baldinger's timeline just to see when because he gushes every week. Joe 3K loves to talk about Aaron Donald is so good he's become mundane. Like, this guy is so good, even his ridiculous stuff is average. And I think Obo Ronco tweeted something about like 3 sacks and just, it's a day in the office for Aaron. And it's like people are getting to the point where when he does ridiculous things, we just like, that's just Aaron. But Baldy loves it, and he every week he does like a 3-minute just video splooge of how great Aaron Donald is, and it's just fun to watch because people still appreciate how good that man is.
He's so good that like the casual friends of mine that watch football will come to me a couple days after the game and just gush about how good Aaron Donald is. And they don't really know much. They're casual fans. They just watch it for the touchdowns and stuff. But yeah, that's how good he is. That he makes casual fans notice a defensive interior tackle just wrecking a game.
If Aaron Donald played any skill position, he would be making commercials out the wazoo, right? He'd be on every billboard. He'd be in magazine covers. If he was that kind of like guy, he's a defensive lineman.
There's not a position on the team that I don't think that dude couldn't play. Like,
oh god, no.
He is a freak. Let him go play right guard. He'd kick everybody's ass. Let him go play running back. Good luck tackling him. Like,
can you imagine having Aaron Donald pull on a trap, and you slide your back in behind Aaron Donald on a counter tray, and have him be the swing down?
All you got to do is go stand in the middle of I-5, and then just get smacked by a semi truck, and that's the exact same feeling that somebody would feel. Like, he's that.
The Baldy's, I don't know if you saw Baldy's thing there, but at the end, his last sack when he got the forced fumble on Alex Smith, he bull rushed that guy, a 320-pound guy, so fast. It was like skates. It was nothing. Like I would hate to see some D-end sitting there with a counter tray coming down and Aaron Donald leading the charge, or a screen, right? He gets out in front and he's going to line up on a DB. It would be like watching Blindside. Take him to the bus. Take him to the bus. The man is phenomenal. He's just fun to watch, and he's ours. It's amazing. I love the guy. Love him. Your son, love him. Love him.
Mm-hmm.
So okay, let's wrap it up. We're hitting the half-hour mark here. So final thoughts on Niners Rams. Want to do a little prediction? What we're thinking here? Nick, you can go first. What's your thought? What's your prediction on this game?
I'm gonna say Rams 31, Niners 17. I think it'll start off a little closer in the first half. The two coaches feel themselves out, but I think we'll pull away in the end. If we get off to a fast start like we have been every week, at least in the first drive in Buffalo, but if we get off to a fast start, I think we could be in control of this game fairly early. I'm looking for a defensive score of some sort finally this year in this game.
We need one.
And I look for the offense to roll against that beat up team. So
love it. So 31-17.
31-17.
What do you think, Nick? Higher or lower? Card Sharks.
I've been pretty conservative with this team, and I've been actually pretty close the past couple of weeks. I think it ends up 24-13. But this is the week that turnovers come. Thing about turnovers, these things come in bunches. And the Rams haven't got that yet, where the ball just starts bouncing the right way. I think this is the week. Stem by 99. That team will not have an answer for him at all. Joe Staley ain't there to bail that team's ass out no more. So turnovers start flooding this week. We take control of the game. I feel like everybody can say that every Rams game that we watched this year, other than the Buffalo game, we felt like we should be just kicking their ass. And for some reason, the floodgates have just not opened. That feeling's going to come this weekend. Be happy to hang an L to that team.
Yes.
I'm going to go with the Sam Sloman special, 23-13. I'm going to see too many Sam Sloman attempts this week. He'll hit a few of them, but I still I still want to. I'm the worst fan because every stall in the red zone is the one that just irks me the most. And so they were good this week. I think we go back to being conservative in the red zone and don't push it in. And I yell at the TV a lot. I see a lot of drives. I see a lot of ball control. I see a lot of time of possession. I just don't see the points that are going to warrant it. So I'm going to go 23-13. No Sherman, no Bosa, no problem.
No problem.
No
Love
problem. It. Boys, thanks for jumping on, Steven. I appreciate you making time for us. Want to get you back again later this year, but it's been a pleasure to have you on with us, my friend.
Anytime, guys. It's good to see you guys. Hope everything's well.
Yeah,
Cheers,
you
brother.
too. Stay safe down there, and we'll catch you guys soon.
Thanks.
Have a good night, Rob.